Where does the New Orleans Saints quarterback situation rank, ladies and gentlemen? New Orleans.football is the backdrop. Today we are ranking them quarterbacks. We already did this a couple days ago with Colin Cowherd's video, but it was a different ranking system, completely different. So this is, I assume, going to be their rankings. But we'll go ahead and break it all down. Now, before we start, the top four is unquestioned. It has to be a combination of Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Jackson. Personally, I would probably have it Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and then Burrow. But if you said, no, Burrow's 3, Jackson's 4, Burrow's 2, Allen's 3, like whatever. Those are the top 4, no doubt about it. Then there's a big jump, big gap down. The next, 8-ish quarterbacks, I think are pretty much set too. Like, you have a really good second tier of quarterbacks. You know, the Jalen Hurtses of the world, the Jaden Daniels of the world, the Matthew Staffords of the world, the Jared Goffs of the world, the Baker Mayfields of the world. Like, all those guys pretty set in there too. Justin Herbert and, a lot of those guys who was like, no, these guys are good. They just haven't ascended to that MVP level. But these guys are legit. Like, these guys are good. These guys are fine. Like, the end of that tier is probably like Purdy. Then you have the next set, which are more of the question marks. All right, this is where like Tua, this is where quarterbacks like that, where it's like, I don't know how good he is. At times he can shine, whatever. And then beyond that, you start getting into, Bryce Young, Daniel Jones, some of the rookies, whatever. So can't wait to see their list. Let's react along the way.
The best customer care and prices that you can find. We are talking about quarterbacks on today's show, and we are going to kick it off with a segment presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant.
Get you
what are our rankings for the NFL's
taco.
Current starting quarterbacks? We take them 1 through 32. Mike, hit us, break down the list.
Yeah, we're starting. We decided we're saying like as of today, playing a game today.
Sure.
So we're not giving bonus points to someone like Jaden Daniels for being young and on the rise. We're not giving bonus points to Jaden Daniels' contract.
Okay, that's important. So if you're not factoring in age, you're not factoring in development, you're not factoring in what they can be in 5 years, you're not factoring in how cheap they are, you're not factoring in any of that. If you're just talking straight up how good they are right effing now, I said this in a video a couple days ago, I'll say it again, a really good way to start your quarterback ranking is pretend it's 3rd and 9 or 4th and 9, and you got to have it. And it has to be a passing play, and the defense knows it's a passing play, okay? Rank the quarterbacks that you'd want on the field. Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl, 4th and 9, who do you want? If you rank it that way, you'll get pretty close to the actual tried and true ranking in this situation. Because in that setting, contracts don't matter, age doesn't matter, nothing matters. It's who can get this first down.
We still both went with Mahomes at number 1.
All right, so they got the top 4. Kudos. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow is exactly how I had it. Okay, that's my top 4. Hurts is kind of high, but, he just won a Super Bowl. He's legit. I have no problem with Jalen Hurts being here. I have no problem with Stafford being 5. I have no problem with Daniels being 5. All these guys are absolutely legit. 100%. Like, sure. Put Goff 5, whatever. Put Herbert 5, whatever. Like, these guys are really, really good. I think you do have to question about Jalen Hurts as far as, is he a product of the system? Does it even matter? Kind of similar to Purdy, where it's like, how much of that is Shanahan? How much is Hurts what Philadelphia does? But you could also flip it. You could say, well, how much of Philly's success is because of what Hurts can do? So, different conversation. But Stroud's still hanging out in the top 10. I would probably have I think he's top 10. I would have Baker ahead of Dak at this point, and also probably ahead of Kyler. So the only thing I would really change here is I would probably put Baker at 11. And then the conversation is Baker or Stroud at 10. But I like their top 10. Like I said, I'd probably have Daniels a little higher. And then going beyond that, I would definitely have Baker ahead of Kyler and Dak.
There's other guys who were competing for MVP last year when he had a bit of a down year, but I feel like they haven't knocked the king off the hill yet, have they?
Yeah.
I feel like you have to if you're not trying to be like cute or overthink it or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's the man. It's like the LeBron thing where LeBron's the best player in the NBA, like for a majority of his career, almost all of his career. You could get cute and throw whoever up there, but he's just the guy. And Mahomes is just the guy. And if Mahomes had, who Joe Burrow has as a wide receiver, if Mahomes had Derrick Henry, like Mahomes is crazy. And not having him at 1, I think, is getting too cute.
He wasn't the best last year.
We have Joe Burrow 4th. Like, I might want Joe Burrow at number 1, honestly. Like, most accurate quarterback in the league, the way he brought Cincy back last year, fighter. Like,
I love Joe Burrow. I think he's awesome. And like, you're splitting between, like, 10s and 9.8s at this point. But I would prefer, I mean, if it was me, I would take Josh Allen in a game or a season or whatever. Give me Josh Allen over Joe Burrow. I mean, at this point right now, like, he's the MVP. He was insane last year. I think he's getting better. I think he's getting more comfortable with what he has going on. He is a Super Bowl away from really pushing that conversation. Because the only reason that Josh Allen is not just like unanimously number 1 is because of all the failures against Mahomes, which, it is what it is. Like, I asked Peyton Manning how that felt with Tom Brady, right? It's just bad news. Josh Allen happens to be playing in the Patrick Mahomes era. But I think after last year, after the last couple of years, you have to at this point say, okay, Allen and Lamar have taken that giant step forward. Now, if Joe Burrow, if the Bengals do have a big run this year and Burrow wins MVP, or he's, leaps and if he takes that big step, okay, he can be 2, he can be 3, but I think right now this is the move.
Mahomes looked a little bit different last year. I think the roster on him is deteriorating a little bit. I still take him number 1. But my conversation really for me, and I ranked them differently because, like, on a list like this, like, you're kind of being contrarian.
It's just easy.
If you don't put Josh
Allen
Allen
a statement
second,
if you move someone else to number 1.
If you don't put Lamar 3rd, but it really might be Joe Burrow.
I put Lamar 2nd, and you put Allen 3rd, but it was enough of a tie for me.
Second.
Yeah, or I mean, you put Allen 2nd, I put Lamar 2nd. It was enough of a tie for me. I didn't put up a fight. I mean, maybe there's an injury question mark with Lamar or the way he plays or something like that, but that's true of Josh Allen too.
But I mean, that's kind of weird too, where you're like, well, there's an injury concern with Lamar and Allen. But out of all of them, the biggest injury concern has been Joe Burrow, right? He's been the one who has been injured. So if you're going to say that, you got to really throw Burrow into there. I never factor in injury, so I'm not saying that. But
like, I don't know. I mean, just the way Baltimore has made Lamar their identity. Like, if you're telling me to place a bet on who's going to win MVP this year, I'm going to probably place that bet on Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
He's their whole team more.
Now, see, again, I think Josh Allen is way more of Buffalo's whole team than Lamar is in Baltimore, because now that Derrick Henry's there, like they can beat you a couple different ways. Buffalo has one trick. Buffalo is 100-mile-an-hour fastball. That's it. Try and hit it. They are Mariano Rivera with a cutter. Good luck.
Than some of these other guys are. And I agree, Burrow was in consideration for me too. I flip and flopped around. I thought about putting Burrow ahead of Josh Allen, but there is a clear top 4. There is just a hands down clear top 4.
No doubt.
That
no doubt.
There should almost be a 2-tier break before you get to everybody else on this list for me.
Yeah, I think the top 4, any order you can take them. It doesn't make it.
Yeah, I think there's 2 obvious tiers. Like, you go that 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. That's tier 1, and then 5 through 10 is tier 2. And then it can get really, then you can really change some things up.
Difference. I'm going with Mahomes because he's 1 like that. Yeah. So that when you're in that thing, you got to start ranking them by who's 1. I put him first. I kind of feel like Josh Allen like just entered the league at the wrong time, like, and he's just gotten screwed by this. Like he probably should have a title. Lamar's probably the same. There's this monster.
All four of those guys being in the AFC is brutal.
Joe's gotten to the Super Bowl, so like maybe he should be second on that criteria.
Yeah.
The Jaguars and Ravens have won the same amount of playoff games since 2015. I don't know what that means within this. Maybe they haven't done enough around him. But like really any one of these four guys,
and he's got the best receiver by far of any of these. I guess Mahomes has Kelsey.
Who has the best receiver?
Burrow. Like
he might have the best too.
Yes, fair. So like if you're really going to make an argument, like what would Mahomes have done with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? You know, I don't know, but
we know what Mahomes did with Tyreek Hill before they completely changed the league, right? They completely changed how defense was played after Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, where all of a sudden they said, yeah, all right, well, we're doing this too high shell. We're changing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes did in the NFL what Steph Curry did in the NBA, where all of a sudden the game completely changed. And defense completely changed because of the Chiefs and because of Patrick Mahomes.
He's had Kelsey, so they've all had their share of studs. Lamar probably the least to work with of all of them, but and then it got hard. I mean, like
he's
I said,
got the tight ends.
That almost
and maybe the receivers don't rank because the system. So
yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
it's fair.
I mean,
it's almost like a 4-way tie for number one, and then I feel like everybody else here I wanted to put ninth. Like, I didn't want anyone else to be fifth on the list, but Jalen Hurts, you can't argue with putting him there because of the success of the team. Even though if you're just like analyzing him in a vacuum, you see some of the warts, but it's effective and it's worked over a number of years with different coaches and different makeup. And then we had Matthew Stafford sixth. That's kind of like how we ranked DeMario on lists like these. I keep thinking Stafford is going to drop off, but whenever he plays and he's healthy, did you even have him fifth? Maybe like
Stafford's really, really good. And if y'all have been listening to all these videos, you know how high I am on the Rams this year. And Stafford was fourth down away from beating the Eagles in the playoffs last year. So, you know, he's a guy who, in that 3rd and 9, 4th and 9 situation I'm talking about, you feel real good about him. And you probably do feel better about him than you do about Goff or Herbert. I would probably have Jaden Daniels ahead of Matthew Stafford right now, just because what Daniels can do on the ground, just his ability to pick up yards and extend plays and create or whatever. But yeah, Stafford is having kind of a renaissance.
Outplayed everyone else on this list.
I felt good about the 5 to 10. Like I feel good about Hurts being in there. I feel good about Stafford. I feel good about Goff. I feel good about Herbert. I feel good about Jaden Daniels and Stroud. I actually feel like my only struggle was I wanted to put Jaden Daniels like 6th.
I think Daniels is the guy you can move up in this top 10, and Herbert is the guy you can move down. Herbert's the guy where it's like he's got all the tools, he's got this, he's got that, but he's getting by on that. And I've said this before, but Justin Herbert is on that razor's edge of, is he more Jay Cutler or is he more Matthew Stafford? And I don't think the book's out on that yet. And when he is more of that like Jay Cutler kind of player, to where it's like, man, you know, he's got this, he's got that, he's a franchise guy, and then all of a sudden time passes you by and you look back and like, well, I mean, he was good, but that was kind of it. You know, so Herbert is a guy who, if you put him 10 here, I'm not arguing. If you put him 6 here, you could probably talk me into it. I would think that's a little bit high, but the rest, like Goff is underrated every year. And Stroud, I think last year Stroud would be probably 5, and he's taken a step back to 10. But for me, it's like, well, look what Stroud went through. Like, look what Stroud went through. Look at the injuries. Look at what he had going on. Look at the offensive line. Down year, takes a step back. Oh, still wins the playoff game. You know, so I don't think you can drop him too far.
I think you put him lower, or I put him 6th or 7th.
And it was just kind of like, well, you know, so like they've been doing it longer.
Like I think we were putting C.J. Stroud 5th. I wasn't, but I think a lot of people were putting C.J. Stroud 5th on this list a year ago.
I was, yeah.
And then he
I
didn't.
mean, am I on a different level?
You get burned if you put a guy on too early, but Jaden Daniels could very easily emerge as the 5th. And if we were doing whose team's quarterback situation do I want, Jaden Daniels rises above all these guys for sure, being second year.
Jaden Daniels goes to the 5th or 6th. So like it's like, do you want Hurts or do you want Daniels? I probably take Daniels, but like again, you could get burned by that. But I take him there. But
yeah, look, Goff being 7th is wild. But look, you just can't deny it.
Wild. I had a huge Jared Goff MVP ticket last year. Didn't cash, obviously, but it is what it is. Goff's awesome. Goff is kind of similar. Goff is kind of in that bucket with Hurts and Purdy, where is Goff a product of Detroit, a product of the wide receivers and the running backs and the offensive line and Ben Johnson, or is Goff kind of is he the maestro of all this? You know, like if you put Jared Goff on Tampa, is he better or worse than Baker? And if you put Baker on Detroit, what happens? When you have the weapons that Goff had, when you have, I mean, you talk about the running backs, you talk about the wide receivers, you talk about the tight ends, you talk about the offensive line. You know, he only played whatever it was 3 games outside last year. Like, do you knock him for all that, or do you give him his due credit for taking advantage of all that?
Justin Herbert is so weird. Justin Herbert is more of Justin Herbert is not on this list because of results. Everyone else is on this list because of results. Justin Herbert has never gotten the results, but everyone just agrees that you'd trade for him and you'd like to be the one working for him. CJ Stroud stayed in at 10, which means that Dak Prescott, I think he's been a consistent top 10 guy for a long, long time. But when you add in the injury to the fact that he just,
I mean, he's in the twilight of his career. I think he's taken a step back. I think he has taken steps back since the leg injury. I think I don't see anyone in the top 10 who I would rather have Dak than that player.
Hasn't had that playoff success. But like if the Saints announced they were trading for Dak Prescott, I'd be enthusiastic about that. I still think he's a really good player, and results just haven't happened.
Yeah, I would think that was an absolutely horrific move. He's super overpaid, old player. Like that would piss me off.
And for him too.
I wouldn't be in. I'm done with that. Yeah. If you aren't giving me a top 10 guy and you're trading for him,
I think Dak.
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, I mean, if you're like, oh, we traded for Aaron Rodgers or Dak Prescott, or it's like, why are we doing that? Why are you wasting your time with a aging player well past their prime who has never delivered playoff success, who has never done any of that stuff, and you're taking on $60 million a year? Like, why are you doing any of that stuff? Why? That doesn't make sense to me.
He's a top 10 guy though, but that's kind of like how I keep believing in Chase Young. It's a similar thing. Like, I think Dak's a top 10 guy, but you can't show me the evidence that he's proven.
Who would you knock off this list? Who would you knock out of the top 10 for Dak?
It yet, I guess.
I feel like everyone above him on this list, you can be like, and I feel like there's a clear line of demarcation. Like, I feel like everyone above him on this list, you could say, yeah, they won a Super Bowl because of him. Like, I don't think you win a Super Bowl because of Dak.
Interesting.
Goff feels it's the way his career started, but the way he's been playing, it's undeniable. Like,
don't forget, and people do, Jared Goff early in his career went to the Super Bowl, went toe-to-toe in one of the greatest quarterback performances I've ever seen against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in that 55-54 game, whatever it was. Unbelievable performance. Jared Goff, like, for as much as people will say, like, well, he started off kind of slow, started off kind of like this, I don't know. You know, he was pretty sporty. He could absolutely spin it.
Is that like Jeremy Fowler just did his thing where the NFL execs rank him? They had Goff 8th. Yeah. They had Jaden Daniels 5th. Those were kind of the differences. And they had Hurts 9th, I think, on that list.
Yeah.
So a couple things a little bit different, but I feel like all those guys, you could just say, like, yes, everything clicked and they won a Super Bowl because of them. Stroud still has that potential for me. He got hot at the end of last season.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more blemish than it was a year ago, but I still believe in him. JD, absolutely, 100%.
If a quarterback has a down year, a bad year, everything goes wrong, whatever, and they still win a playoff game and they still win the division, that's usually a sign of a pretty solid quarterback. If that's their baseline.
Herbert, like, man, you got to start winning some games at some point, but the talent and the tape,
especially now that Justin Herbert's got Jim Harbaugh, another year of that like infrastructure around him. Now he's got to start winning. 100%.
All that stuff
You'd
is,
take
is what it is.
If the Saints traded for Justin Herbert, you'd be enthusiastic?
Hell yes. Mike, brother, what's going on? What are we talking about here? Abso-effing-lutely. I would walk to the airport. I would carry Justin Herbert on my back to Cat's Meow from the airport, okay? To Cat's Meow, and the first 3 for 1 would be on me. Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't feel that way about Dak.
No,
No, brother, what is going on? How Dak and Herbert are miles apart. Miles.
Definitely Dak. I put Goff and Dak in a similar category, and I think Goff found his fit. Like, this is probably the first time we've ever done a list like this where Goff, maybe last year Goff was already ahead of Dak or whatever, but I mean, Goff found the place where it fit for him. That's what every quarterback wishes they could find.
he's got like every benefit. He's got all these players around him. He's had a great line. Like, he just hasn't. He hasn't gotten it done. Yeah, I mean, these other guys, like, there's just a line there, and it's just. Like
I'll put 12 in the same conversation with 11. We had Dak 11, Kyler 12. Is it the same exact thing with Kyler? Like,
I think Kyler is kind of who he is. You know, Kyler is good, but I think Kyler is only so good, and Kyler will not take you to that next level. I think what's different between Kyler and Baker is he's got some of that, like, I don't know if he's just kind of, he almost seems bored with it. He almost seems like football's a hobby. He almost seems like he's just kind of out there spinning the pill, and then, you know, whatever gets him back to Call of Duty the fastest. Baker seems like he would die on the field for 11 wins. They're very, very similar players, but I think I just trust Baker more in that 3rd and 9 situation. So I think, yeah, I mean, I'd have Baker at 11, but Kyler is uber talented. Like, Kyler's actual physical attributes are insane, absolutely insane. So that carries him. And when you have the assets like that, it's kind of like the opposite of Brock Purdy, where at a certain point you look at Brock Purdy and you're like, well, I don't know if you can physically get me to where I need to go. Like, he has to play in a very specific system. He has to play on time. He has to have very specific players around him, plays called, all that stuff. Kyler, he can do whatever you're asking him to do. You know, it's just, is he going to make the mistakes? Can he do it at a high level? Can he be consistent? Whatever. But Kyler probably does deserve to be in that top 14-ish. Jordan Love or Kyler. I'd probably rather Kyler, although I am a little bit lower on Jordan Love than most people.
Like, would he be a top 10 draft pick if you're building your team around one of these guys and you think you can figure it out, or does he just have some flaws and inconsistencies in his own game?
Kyler has flaws and inconsistencies in his own game, married with incredible physical attributes, which I think lands him exactly where he needs to be. If you go just by results, Kyler probably shouldn't be top 12. But if you look at everything, very similar to Herbert, that's how he gets there.
He might sneak into the top 10 because if we're drafting a team, I'm probably not picking Stafford based on age, so he might sneak into there.
Would you consider taking Kyler over Hurts?
Would I consider taking Kyler over?
That would be absolutely insane. If you took Kyler over Jalen Hurts, I mean, what would possibly be what possibly would be your reasoning to do that? You've seen what Jalen Hurts has done. He probably could have been the MVP the first time they went to the Super Bowl. Then last year, he was nuts. I would absolutely take Jalen Hurts.
You are hiring your own coaches, implementing your own system.
Not even a conversation. Yeah. No, like, and I would probably move Jordan Love up to 10 over Kyler and all them. Like, if we're drafting, if we're just drafting guys for a team right now based on age, but and if we're not considering any rookies in that, like, I probably take Cam Ward over them just because, like, you know, it's the mystery or whatever. But no.
The gambler's fallacy, ladies and gentlemen. The unknown becomes a premium because you have all the hopes and dreams. That's why a pack of sports cards is more expensive than the singles, because you have the gambler's fallacy. Every card is in the pack until you open it, right?
And it's not a knock on Dak. Like, I think Dak's a fine quarterback. I think you can win a lot of games with him if you put everything works out.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather have like Geno than Dak. I mean, I just think Dak is as average as it gets at this point. He's in that like Aaron Rodgers kind of territory, but
but I just feel like these other guys, like, they can push you up into another tier, maybe.
Well, and Kyler's interesting to me because Kyler's even more like the Chase Young conversation for me, in that like if you told me Kyler won MVP this year, I wouldn't be like, I always feel like that's possible for him.
I mean, I'd be absolutely befuddled and flabbergasted.
I always feel like there's just the Kyler takeover season still possible. Like, he is still so unique to me. But how many years does he have to not do it before, maybe he's in the Herbert conversation a little bit, but I don't know.
No one's talked about Kyler more than me over the years.
Yeah.
Like, I've always, but it's going to be year 7 at this point, and it's
at a certain point, it is what it is. Like, at a certain point, you have to let go of the like, oh, well, he's so dynamic or he's so quick or whatever. Like, okay, we've seen 7 years of it. Like, it is what it is. At some point, like, playing quarterback matters. It matters more than these attributes or highlight reels or whatever.
At some point, at some point, Chase Young has to get 15 sacks, and if he,
I was just about to say it's the Shamar Stewart thing. Where before the draft, we were saying if Shamar Stewart, what was the quote? I'm misquoting my own quotes, but it's like if Shamar Stewart rushes the passer so good, why isn't he a good pass rusher? If he's got all these crazy physical attributes, why is he getting 1.5 sacks a year? Like, at some point, we're not drafting and we're not grading players off of their off of their combines. You have to actually do the thing. Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, like, these guys, like, I get it. I know they're cool. I know, they're unique and they're fun players and they're this and they're that. Okay, well, you have to play the position good. You have to be a good quarterback.
He doesn't. At some point, Kyler Murray has to have the 4,500-yard season, and if he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm done betting on it. Yeah. I think he just is what he is. I think he's a 4,000-yard guy, maybe right around there, 3,800, can run a little bit. I like him. I like the way he plays. I feel like the conversation around him really got insane about the Call of Duty thing, and I feel like that tarnished how everybody views him.
100%.
And I think
he's got to prove. What really hurts him with that whole thing is the Call of Duty stuff. When you combine it with 8 wins, 9 wins, and you're just bang average, you're just Jeff Fisher, that's what hurts that. If Kyler could get an 11-win, 12-win year out there, people forget all about that. Play Call of Duty on the sidelines, I don't care. But when people think you're kind of whatever about the game, and then your results are whatever, there's nothing more whatever than 500, right? So it's like one of those situations where the results are married to the preconception.
If you take that out, he's viewed differently. I don't think but I still think we probably got him ranked higher than most people would too.
Well, I think I had Baker ahead of him on my list. You had Baker. I was surprised. I thought you'd have Baker right around 10 or 11, but 13's no knock at him. It's just we saw the warts with him for a couple of years with a couple other teams. He's obviously finally found the right fit. Did he make top 10 on that executives list? I think Baker was 10th, right?
Was he?
The one that Jeremy Fowler, when he interviewed all the executives, which I can't argue with.
Oh, yeah, he was, because Stroud was honorable mention. Yeah, they knocked Stroud out.
I mean, Dak and Kyler are theories. Baker's actually doing it now because he found his fit. Yeah. And then Jordan Love at 14, we're probably both harder on him than some other people are.
Yeah, I'm pretty low on Jordan Love.
I haven't seen all his best games, but it feels...
Anytime, and this goes in any sport, if a majority of what I've seen is either not good or average, that's when I'm going to believe you are. I talk about this all the time. Players have baseline levels, like with Derek Carr. We said Derek Carr's baseline needs to be average. Sometimes he needs to be great. Rarely he needs to be elite. And you got to live in that range. Mahomes, his baseline is great, right? Most of the time he's elite. And then every once in a while, he's otherworldly, right? Players have that range, okay? So Jordan Love, his baseline, the majority of what we've seen has been average to below average. Now, he did have that run that culminated in them absolutely dog-walking Dallas in the playoffs. but that seems to be the rarity. So I always fall back on whatever I see the majority of, that's what I'm going to believe you are. Similar to Kyler. The majority of Kyler has been average. Sometimes he has been good. But until the majority becomes good, I can't bump you up into that level of a player.
Feels like when I've tuned in.
Always believe, this is a little bit for me. Always believe what the player shows you and the team shows you. If a team is 0-9, and then let's say a team's 0-9, and so you have an 0-9 Saints team playing a 9-0 Chiefs team, and let's say then the Saints win 75-0. For me, I'm not going to say, oh my God, the Saints might be the best team in the NFL. They just beat the undefeated Chiefs by 75 points. I'm going to say, okay, well, 9 of the games they've showed me have been horrible. They showed me one good game. So I'm going to believe those 9 games instead of that one. Running back, same thing. If a running back has 10 carries for 90 yards and they have one 90-yard carry, I'm not going to look at the entire game and say, well, they averaged 9 yards a carry. I'm going to say they had that one good carry for 90 yards, but the rest of them, they got no yards. The other 9 carries were for 0 yards. I'm going to believe the bulk of it instead of the outlier.
In and watch Jordan Love. I've seen a lot of warts. Certainly in both Saints games over the last 2 years, I have not been impressed by Jordan Love, but I can't deny the results he's had. And then Brock Purdy, 15, same thing. I'm a little harder on Jordan Love and Brock Purdy. I think the fact that my blind assumption on Purdy was, he was doing great when the Niners had the best offensive line, the best run game, the best defense. And then last year they didn't have that because of injuries, and he looked very, very human last year. So, man, I'm glad I'm not a team who has to decide to pay him $55 million right now.
I'd Love and Purdy both ahead of Dak on mine. I think I had Love 12th, which I don't know, 14th.
Yeah, that's all. We're all in the same range.
Yeah.
And then we get to older guys. Rodgers 16, Geno 17. Mix and match, or you felt good about Rodgers in the first half?
Rodgers is one of those guys where, like, if you really, 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 really dig into the metrics, it's like, okay, maybe he's not that bad, but with all he comes with, and I mean, he has a statue back there, I would rather Geno than Rodgers. But if you're playing 7-on-7, like Rodgers, some of the physical stuff is still there with the arm. He's still Aaron Rodgers. He still mentally can dissect it. He still understands what's going on at a completely unearthly level. But I would, and I'm pretty high on Geno, but I would have Geno over Rodgers.
I'm okay with it. I didn't really know what to do with him.
Yeah,
I had him like higher.
I wouldn't kick you out of my house for Rodgers 16, Geno 17.
Moved him up again a little bit. It's just it's like league. He feels like a good line of, like, I feel like you go Rodgers, and then I would probably, for a single season, anyone below Rodgers on this list, I think I'm gonna walk that back because we got like young players ranked behind him. But there's a little tier here of like Rodgers, Geno, Lawrence, Tua, and Darnold. I feel like out of all of them, for a single season,
you'd take Rodgers.
I take Rodgers over all of them for one season.
Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, it depends. I mean, again, like I could hear the argument for Geno. I think Russ should be higher on this list. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But it's crazy too when you look at like Trevor Lawrence. Y'all know I'm super down on Trevor Lawrence, but when it's like, you don't think Trevor Lawrence is a top 10 guy? It's like, brother, look at the top 10. Like we are in a golden quarterback era where there are studs all over the place. Okay. So to be in that conversation, like, you have to be really good. And these guys aren't. Tua is not. Trevor Lawrence is not. Like even the Bo Nix of the world and some of those guys who we saw flashes of last year, it's like you're going to put them ahead of C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels or Justin Herbert or Jared Goff or Matt Stafford or Jalen Hurts. Like, this is similar to the era when it was, Hall of Fame level quarterbacks all over the place. Being a top 20 guy nowadays is not that bad because of how good the top 20 is right now.
Lawrence is the most fascinating guy on this list. Trevor Lawrence is the best example of why you don't put Jaden Daniels fifth yet. That year that Lawrence won the playoff game, and was it Doug Peterson's first year as the head coach? Lawrence was probably as high as 6th or 7th on some of these lists, and then he was 10th, and then he was 12th, and then he is getting worse every year.
They got some weapons, though, man.
When you look at Trevor Lawrence, you can find some tape on him where he's making mistakes that I don't care how long your hair is. I don't care if you're 6'6". I don't care if you're whatever. He's making mistakes that bad quarterbacks make. And he's just not seeing the field. He's just not reading the defenses. And he's getting too long in the tooth. He's getting too experienced to make those mistakes to where, like I said 15 minutes ago, you have to just trust what you're seeing. You have to trust the bulk of what Trevor Lawrence is giving you. And until he gives you a reason to say, damn, maybe he is good, you have to just say, I believe what he has shown me, which is average to below average.
Probably, he could blow up.
Right. I'm probably dumb for this, but there was even talk of this. Like, was there talk about Jacksonville trading Lawrence, and there was like a rumor?
Oh, yeah.
Like somebody said, what if the Saints traded their like first round pick for Trevor Lawrence? Like, I wouldn't be against it. I still think there could.
Well, then you're getting a risk analysis on like a first round pick for Trevor Lawrence. Okay, if he works out, then the value is through the roof. If it doesn't, like, what do you really lose? So that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I mean, I think Trevor is just, now he does have a ton of weapons, and Liam Cohen is there. So this is the year where you're about to find out, is there something there that can get awakened? Okay, is he Gohan going up to Supreme Kai's planet to take the sword out of the stone or whatever and try and go figure it out? And, is that who it is? Or is Trevor Lawrence just Yamcha?
It would be a 10-year run,
not a first.
for Trevor or whatever, or the 40th pick. I can't remember what it was a first 9th pick or whatever in the draft, but I can't remember.
Well, don't forget, Mel Kiper famously thought Justin Fields would be worth a first round pick when he was leaving Chicago.
I remember exactly what the talk was, but like I feel like there could be a 10-year run of success with Trevor Lawrence still to go. I'm not done with him, but I think he's one more bad year away from being ranked where like Russell Wilson is on this list. Like he needs to do it soon.
I'm completely out on anybody with on-mat potential. Like, it's pointless.
Yeah.
I can't chase it with Trout. Like, that feels like young, like I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. I could see him blowing up with all the weapons they have and everything, but I would not give anything a consequence to put him on the team, because, again, like, are you going to win because of him? Like, and at this point, when you have nothing, if the situation's altered to where you got Chris Olave, it's the Derek Carr situation, and he's coming in, and you have a chance of like, well, there's all these pieces around him to elevate him. The Saints don't have anything that would elevate Trevor Lawrence right now. So I'm not doing it. You need a quarterback who's lifting you up, or take him for free with pick 40 and hope for the best. But I'm not paying a guy, giving up an asset, and ending up, if all things go right for Shough, like.
Well, that's where, like, now we're talking about the Saints here, but, people will hit the Saints and the Shough thing. I would rather have the Shough situation than the Trevor Lawrence situation. Because the Trevor Lawrence situation, you're $275 million in, like, it's a whole different bag of worms. But Tyler Shough, it's like the results could be the same. Tyler Shough could absolutely play at the level Trevor Lawrence has played at. If Tyler Shough was 30 games under 500 or whatever Trevor Lawrence is, I don't think, he would get a $275 million contract. But Tyler Shough could play at the level Trevor Lawrence is playing at, and Tyler Shuck's going to do it for $275 million less. So it sounds weird because Trevor Lawrence was an incredible college quarterback, and he's 6'6", and he's got long hair, and people like him, and people think he's a franchise guy and whatever. But it's really not, like, it's not as good to a similar situation. Like a lot of these guys, very similar situation to where the results aren't really that great for the contract. I know we're not factoring in contracts in this specific conversation, but like, no matter whatever you think about Tyler Shough or Spencer Rattler, I would rather that low risk, high reward, short-term situation than what the Jags are in.
You're 15th, and all things go right for Trevor Lawrence. You're probably likely 15th. Going on with the list, and we got the young guys after Darnold, Bo Nix.
Well, we just brushed over Tua, but I mean, we just threw him on there, and then Darnold, yeah, and so now it's a whole new thing after those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Drake May, Michael Penix. These guys are in that like Mac Jones territory, where Mac Jones had an incredible rookie year, and then before you could even look around, Bailey Zappe's the starting quarterback of the Patriots, and Mac Jones is gone, right? So you got to be careful. Underlying metrics for all these guys are really ugly. I just was talking to a commenter about this with Michael Penix. Michael Penix played 3 games last year. He went 1-2. He averaged 250 yards a game, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Finished with 3 interceptions, 3 touchdowns. Okay? The pass defenses he faced were the 3 worst pass defenses in the NFL. I believe it was the Giants, the Panthers, and the Commanders. I would be more concerned with that than happy. Like, I don't understand why facing the worst pass defenses in the NFL and going 1-2, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, 250 yards a game. That to me is not instilling a ton of confidence. Okay? So Michael Penix, we don't know anything about Michael Penix. I would rather have, for one season, I'd rather have Russell Wilson than a lot of these guys, because at least with Russ, I know. Like with Russ, at least I know, okay, he's a pro, he's a pro's pro, at least he understands the game, can see defenses, can do all that stuff, and then you got to worry about the physical stuff. But I'd have Russ for one season or one game, whatever. I'd have him, 3rd and 9, I'm absolutely taking Russ over Bryce Young or Caleb Williams or Michael Penix or Bo Nix. 100%. 100%. So, there are warts and issues with all of these guys. Bo Nix, really, really bad underlying metrics last year. Good system. Sean Payton figured out. Great defense, whatever. Caleb Williams, he's got a ton of problems. Bryce Young, we've talked about at length as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The Michael Penix stuff is really crazy how a bias or a predetermined kind of narrative. But you look at those 3 games with Michael Penix, don't impress me. As Shania Twain, it don't impress me much. Or was that Faith Hill?
I don't like that I put Bo ahead of Caleb, because if I was picking him, I'd take Caleb. But right now, Bo is better than Caleb, so he's ahead of him. And then it goes on to Bryce, which that seems fair. Drake May after that. And then Penix at the bottom of that list. So it's kind of just all that.
I'd have Drake May over Bryce Young.
Some guys together.
We were trying to decide where to rank them. Nix has the most accomplishments. Who you taking? Nix, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Drake May, Michael Penix.
I'd probably take Drake May, because as of right now, the results are all basically the same. And Drake May probably has the best physical capabilities.
Your team gets to have one. Who you want?
Yeah, I'm still taking Caleb. I think he has the most talent and upside out of all.
I'm probably the same way. I'm a little torn on Drake May.
By the way, I'm filming this during a tropical storm. A lot of people have evacuated, run for the hills, got sandbags, whatever. Me, I hunker down. I say I got to do videos.
No idea what Drake May is. I liked him coming out. I almost feel like I go Caleb May 1-2.
Yeah, I think I'd do the same thing. And then I'd probably...
Caleb is pure raw talent. If you look at him as a quarterback, I don't know. If you look at him as, man, this guy's doing cool stuff, yeah, he's awesome. But, hitting a, getting in the line of scrimmage, dropping back, hitting his back foot, letting it rip, it's not really his bag.
Geez, then it's like a 3-way tie between Nix, Bryce, and Penix for me.
Bryce is probably my last pick out of them.
Bryce Young.
Agreed.
Yeah. I still think he can be good, but it's going to take more.
I'd have Bryce at 27. I think Fields can be better than Bryce.
For me.
Yeah.
That's not saying much, but.
Throw Cam Ward in there. We put him 30th on this list, and we put J.J. McCarthy 31st because they've never taken an NFL snap. Throw Cam Ward in there in this.
I mean, if they have not taken a snap, I don't think you can rank them ahead of anybody. Like, I think it's just crazy. It's complete, just who knows. So I think you have to like N/A players who haven't taken a snap. Cam Ward, J.J. McCarthy, Tyler Shough, have to have them down there. I'd have Daniel Jones ahead of Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco, but
conversation we're having. And J.J. McCarthy if you want. McCarthy would be last for me of the 7. Would you put Ward ahead of Penix, Nix, or Bryce Young?
How could you possibly put him ahead of Bo Nix? I mean, Bo Nix just went to the playoffs. Went to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's not. I know it wasn't just him, but you got a guy who you've at least seen for a season versus complete unknown.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, I mean, we've never seen him play. So
yeah, I mean, you can't.
It's hard to do it.
/A.
I would take Caleb over all of them. I'm still riding with him. I want to see what happens. He's the most highly regarded. I think a lot went wrong last year for him, and he needs to do a lot of growing up and all this stuff. And I have concerns about that. I have concerns about the judgment of talking to Seth Wickersham for that book and just all of that. I feel like there's a lot of bad decisions being made.
Yeah, I wasn't really talking about off the field stuff, but yeah, Caleb Williams has made some off the field, some real disaster moves.
But let's say he clears that stuff up. I still
the
like
talent is still.
Yeah, I like his talent the most out of all of them, but there's so much more than talent. Then I would probably go Cam Ward and then Drake May on it.
I lean a little Drake May, Cam Ward, but they're my 2 and 3 in some order. They're my top 3, and then I'll go ahead and go Nix 4th because we've seen it.
Yep.
Because we've seen it, and then I'll go. I guess Bryce and Penix. I actually love Penix. If I didn't know what draft analysts said about these guys and NFL executives said about these guys, I would have assumed Penix was much higher. But I just know that he was rated so low by everyone that saw flaws in his game that maybe is not my department, not my specialty, and plus there's the injury history with him. So I guess he's 6th of the 6, but when he's on the field, he's exciting.
Yeah, he's really 251-1. It blows my absolute socks off. Bad news. My little toes, my little piglets are out free because I don't have any socks on. Because Michael Penix 251-1 and 1 and 2 records absolutely blew socks clean off. I don't even know where they are. Against the Giants, Commanders, and Panthers. Sweet. Man. I can't even imagine. 251-1, 1 and 2 record against the Giants, Panthers, and Commanders. R.I.P. my socks.
I don't know if he. I'm gonna default out of this conversation because I'm treading ground of being a Bo Nix hater. And I'm not.
And Penix was drafted ahead of Nix, so
yeah,
so that's fine. But
you know when the draft placement matters. You know how long it matters until the draft is over. The second the draft is over, I don't care where you were drafted. Could care less. I don't care that Bo Nix was drafted as the 6th quarterback in that draft class. I don't care that Caleb Williams was drafted 1st overall. Could care less.
I mean, look, Nix deserves credit for his performance last year enough to move him ahead of Bryce Young and Michael Penix for me, but they're in a tier together for sure.
And then going on with the list, we got Russ next, Fields next, Browns quartet, and the Colts duo to end the list, and then the rest of the guys are unranked because
Saints
we
at
haven't
32.
seen them.
I mean, we had to, right?
Well, I think the TBDs, I think they're all kind of ranked within themselves, unless you name someone. If Anthony Richardson is the Colts quarterback, he should be 40th.
I'm going to call these unranked because we haven't seen him play,
fine.
and
That's
having
fine.
Cam Ward at the bottom of this list is insane looking. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely they're definitely the most unknown group in the league. However, I would say, if you asked me to go into a season with a group and who would I rather have, you get to the bottom of this list, Browns, Colts, Saints, I'd probably rather run with the Saints duo because there's a little bit of upside. Anthony.
Yeah, the Browns is just a total mixed bag of ass. I mean, it's just 5 of the worst quarterbacks you've ever seen, so who really cares? Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, we just know their ass. I'll tell you what, like I said, I would rather Daniel Jones than anything Cleveland has to offer. The Saints, yeah, you get 2 relatively unknowns, there's some upside, whatever, but Daniel Jones, like I can live with that. I can work with that.
Richardson scares the hell out of me. I don't know what he's going to do.
Richardson
Joe
sucks.
Flacco is just like a default commodity. So, like, at that point, I probably do. But if I'm ranking them, I can't pick a team that's never won a game.
That's going to be the next segment. Perfect segue into our.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get on down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.